You know, I was thinking about this voter fraud that we hear about happening in Georgia and in Florida. Now, this is my thought on it. It's quite ironic that it's happening in the black community. Why is it that the only counts that's behind are the counts where the so-called black Americans are in charge? Always late for everything. Now, I know that there's some black Americans that's not going to like what I have to say. So get all the names out of your system. It's okay. I accept that. I'm used to it. But when it comes to black Americans running anything, I look at it like this. The so-called black Americans should not be eligible to run for any political office until they're able to prove that they can handle the weight and that they can make changes in that state. There's a verse in the Bible that says that roughly if a man is not able to take care of his own home, how is he going to take care of the household of God? And that same rule applies to black Americans, because when we look at the so-called black community, or even areas where whites used to dominate and then blacks start moving in and whites started moving out, and then if you go back and look at those same neighborhoods where whites used to occupy, now it's become the slum, it's the ghetto. You have abandoned houses, police is there, more crime is there. So I think when it comes to black politicians, like for governor, how can you govern a state when the black community, the community you came from, is slummy? At least prove that you're able to govern even your own community. What changes have you made or have you contributed to making in your own communities to make your community better? I think that if black people, and if you notice, there's more black people now that's in position of authority. And I think this is all by design. Now, I had given an example of torch and burn, and I felt that America was being torched and burned. Okay, the demon craps are torching and burning America. Okay, because they want to hold on to power so bad that they're willing to give it over to inexperienced black Americans just to be able to retain power, just to keep the demon craps in power. They're willing to give it over to blacks and Latinos that's not even experienced. That's their way of still destroying America. And I mentioned in the last video about how there's 12 female judges, 12 black women judges in Texas. Now you have all of these blacks now that's getting these political positions. That's not by coincidence. Now all of a sudden the white man is just going to hand over this country to black people. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. They're just now going to hand over power to inexperienced black Americans, when you can look at the black community and clearly see the results of these so-called politicians that now want to govern a state. So if this female Abram, if she becomes governed, if they happen to flip the vote, just look at what the demon craps are doing. They have to cheat in order to win an election. They cannot win fairly and squarely. They have to cheat. So just say, hypothetically speaking, if they happen to flip the election and she ended up becoming governor of Georgia. I believe she's in Georgia. And she become governor of Georgia. Georgia will become a ghetto. It will become the slums, because that's what black Americans leave, is slums. If she was not able to change the black community in her area, in her state, in her neighborhood, what changes was she able to make in her own community? And that right there should tell you how it would be if she became governor of Georgia. Now also look at her family. If she's got a family, husband, children, look at her children, look at her family. How together is her family? So if she's not able to be the woman, if she's married, if she's not able to be the woman in her household, if she's not able to submit to her own husband, if she's not able to keep her house in order, how is she going to govern the state of Georgia? If she becomes governor, Georgia is in trouble. Now, I did a video in the past, and I talked about how black people are leaving the hood to go to the suburbs. And once they get to the suburbs, white people leave. And then the suburbs become ghetto. Now you have more white people that's trying to move back into the city. Gentrification, and they moving black people out. Let black people have the suburbs, they say to themselves. And black people still follow them. So, in my own opinion, I think it would be a big mistake to allow black people to govern anything, especially if they were not able to make changes in their own community. I can drive right through the black community right now, but yet there's black politicians, every time election time come around, they're knocking on your door. They want you to support them because of the fact that they are black. That Puerto Rican chick, what's her name? Ocasio, whatever her name is, the one that got the big eyes, the funny looking eyes. Look at her. Everything, her whole agenda is free. Everything free. But she can't tell you how she's going to pay for it. That's the mindset of black and Latinos. Everything free. If this country is given over to inexperienced black people, it will become the ghetto. We can expect that. It can become the ghetto. And I know it looks good for black people to be in position of power. It's good. And all these black females are talking about, oh, black women. And you have a lot of white folks that's ignorant to what's going on. So they're now feeling guilty, and they're going to vote a black woman or a black dude into office, and they have no experience. They couldn't even manage or govern their own community. They are afraid of their own community. Their community don't even see them until it's time for votes. So black people need to stop supporting black people on the strength of color. You need to stop doing that, because America is going to become a ghetto. That's the Democrat way of torching and burning this country. They use them inexperienced blacks as pawns. So black people, put them in power, give them everything they want, right? As long, because they know black people are going to support black people. Ignorantly, right? So they're going to put black people out front. So when you vote a Democrat politician, a black politician in, you still keeping the white man in power. They're still in power. So just think about it. The white man is handing over his power to black people, handing America over to black people. Now there's like more black politicians, governors, senators. So they're just going to open up and let all black people in. It's just like the KKK. Not too long ago, they wanted black people. They opened it up for black people. Now they have a history of lynching black people. And now all of a sudden, oh, we want to accept black people. We want all the black people to come in now because we all have something in common. We don't want the illegal immigrants in here. So now the KKK opened up to black people. So now you have the Democrats that have destroyed blacks, now all of a sudden going to give the power over into the hands of black people. And you have all of these black political leaders in there. And because black people vote for black people, it keeps the Democrats in power. So they're using black people now to stay in power. And they're using black people to torch and burn America because black people are violent. And black people do not know how to take care of their communities. That's why one black person move into a community and it may be everybody else is white or whatever, but you're the only black, maybe two black families. And then other black people drive by and see you. And black people, for some reason, is drawn to other black people. So when you see a black person in that neighborhood, and that neighborhood is clean and quiet, now you decide to want to move into that neighborhood. And then more black people drive by and say, oh, they live there, I'm going to move there too. Now you come in with a ghetto mentality. So now you have a neighborhood full of black people, and now the white people are going to move out, and then the police is going to come in, the trash on the ground, the unkept lawn, the houses are going to become dilapidated because black people do not take care of where they live at. They care nothing about where they live at. You drive into a white neighborhood and police is going to stop you because somebody's going to call the cops on you because they're going to think you don't belong there. But yet in the black neighborhood, you got gangbangers, you got drug dealers, anybody can come in the neighborhood, nobody says nothing, they mind their business, and then before you realize it, somebody's being killed, and you got a trap house right across the street from where you live at. Because nobody says a word. And because black people don't care, you're going to think those white people care. And it's sad that white people show more concern, not all, but you have some white people that care more about black people than black people care about themselves. So now you have a community where anything goes and nobody call the police because nobody snitches. But you go into a white neighborhood, they're going to call the cops on you. A white dude that don't belong in this neighborhood could walk through the neighborhood, nobody says anything. A black dude walks through a white neighborhood, the police is called. He's going to want to know, why are you there? So, black people, before they get into any political office, they should be made to prove what type of changes or show what type of changes have you made in your own community before they're able to govern anything. So Georgia and Broward County, look what's happened over in Broward County, Florida. And this is happening every single year. They already know what's going to happen with the Democrats, the blacks. And they have a black female that's in charge. And they're hiding votes. So they got votes in the cut. So just in case, those are the just in case votes where they're like straw man votes. You know, somebody moved out the neighborhood, right? Or somebody died and they are registering dead people. Dead people are now voting, or immigrants. Illegal immigrants are voting now. So when they see that she's getting ready to lose, or they're getting ready to lose, okay, now we got to go and we got all these votes that need to be counted. Everybody else did it except for the black people. The black people, and that right there should show you, how those states would be if black people were governing them. If those same black people would govern those states, that right there should give you an idea of how it would be if black politicians were in charge. Right? So feedback, tell me what you think. Subscribe. I'm just thinking. Until next time. Peace.